Hello and welcome. This is Michelle with PaperStampInk. Thanks for stopping by. Today I want to share with you this fun fold card using the Tropical Escape Suite. And we're going to use the stamp set and some of the designer series paper in this card. So this is a fun fold card. It just has a unique opening that makes the card feel a little extra special. Now, before we jump into things, I want to share with you some extra special things from Stampin' Up! This month. When you place orders, for every $50 you spend this month, you earn a $5 coupon code to spend in September when the new occasion or the new holiday catalog comes out. So it's a great time to stock up and have some extra bonus money to spend on some of the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Halloween products that are going to be offered in that holiday catalog. If you're interested in purchasing products, I sure would appreciate the opportunity to earn your business as your Stampin' Up! Representative, and you can follow the links below in the description to get to my online store. So let's get started with our card. We are going to use the following paper. So I've got a piece of paper from our already pre-cut from our designer series paper. And this is the same sheet. I've just cut it and flipped it over. So I find that I like to do that a lot with patterns. They generally coordinate very nicely on the other side. Our die cuts are some Granny Apple Green dies that I've already pre-cut. A few of them, we're not going to use all of these. When I'm cutting up dies, especially these general shape dies, when I've got a scrap of paper that I'm cutting into, I will often cut extras, and then what I do is I just store those in my die pouch along with the dies. So here's some in a different color that I have pre-cut, and that way I have a couple of extra things ready to go when I need something quickly. And I find that I have less waste of my scraps that way as well. I have a piece that is cut with our circle shape framelits, and this is in the Blushing Bride. And this is a great framelit set. This is probably one of my most used ones. It's actually the layering circle framelits, and it comes with scallops and just smooth circles in it, and they nest together nicely so you can get a really great effect for framing your sentiments or images. So I've got that piece in Blushing Bride with the scallop, and I've got one size smaller with the Whisper White, and then I've also gone ahead and die cut some of the flower image dies as well, so that those are ready to go. Set those aside. We're going to have a piece on the inside because I think we're going to make our base out of this Granny Apple Green. It's a little dark to be able to write inside, so I'm going to matte the inside with some Whisper White, and that is cut to slightly smaller than a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I've cut it down, I believe I cut this one down by 1/8 of an inch, so we're at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. All right, let's go ahead and talk about our stamps. This is the Tropical Chic stamp set. Lots of great floral and leaf images, some sentiments in there, and then these fun extra images that you're going to use in another video that I'll be showing you guys later. And then it has these coordinating dies, and the fun thing with these dies on the leaves is they have two pieces, so you can cut out just this piece, you can cut out just this piece, or you can layer them together, and when you do that, this is what you get. So you have lots of different options with these. It's a very versatile set. Leaves and florals you can use for all different seasons. And then for the ink, I'm going to use Blushing Bride and Granny Apple Green, and then I did bring in a couple of well, just one of my Stampin' blends, my dark of the Old Olive, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring my trimmer in, and I'm going to cut this panel down to our 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to go ahead and this top piece on this one, I did it 2 1/2. You can adjust that. You can make this top longer and the bottom shorter. You could make this one a little bit shorter and this one longer. It's kind of up to you how you want to play with it. This one I did at 2 1/2, so I'll just repeat that with this because I already have my pattern paper cut to work with that size. So make sure you bring your score blade down, not your cutting blade for this. And I'm going to score it 2 1/2. Now if I'm playing with my dimensions, all I need to know is that this middle piece has to be 5.5. So I know if I scored this at 2.5, I need to add another 5.5 inches on to that score, or to the total length, to get my next score line. So we've got 5.5 and 2.5, so that is 8 inches. And I am going to score that at 8 inches. All right, since I've pre-cut everything, we can set that over to the side. And picked up a bonus piece of paper there. I'm going to bring in my bone folder and give us some nice creases, and I want to make sure that this piece lines up perfectly with that edge. There we go. All right, so now all we've got to do is get our pieces put together here. So these are all cut just 1/8 of an inch smaller. So let's see, so this one was 2.5 by 4 1/4, so it's 2 3/8 by 4 1/8. And this one, if I remember right, would have been 3.5 or 3. Let's see, what was that one? This is, yeah, it would have been 3. So by 4 1/4. So this one's 4 1/8 by 3 or 2 7/8. And I'm going to flip this one over so I get 2 different patterns on my cardstock. I think that adds a lot of interest, but you definitely could do the same pattern on both pieces. That's totally up to you. There's all sorts of different ways you could play with this layout. So this is just one idea, and you can put this in your tool chest and bring those ideas out with different paper, different stamp sets. That is totally up to you. Let's go ahead and do our stamping. And I'm going to pull out that floral image, and we're going to do a couple of different things. One, I'm going to use the Blushing Bride, and I'm going to stamp on these pre-die cut images. Now normally I would go ahead and stamp and then do my die cutting, but to save a little time here and not have to pull out my Big Shot machine on camera, I am doing the opposite. So I've gone ahead and I've die cut those out, and now I'm going to, instead of trying to stamp this image, since it's a red rubber stamp, and try and figure out how to line that up, I find it's easier if I line it up upside down there. And we'll give this a press. You could come in too with another block. I don't mind inky fingers. I have inky fingers all the time. It's a sign that you're having fun and creating, right? Come in with this one. Just press that down. There we go. And one more, because in general I like to work in odd numbers and 3s. So I'm going to bring this one in, and we're going to end up popping one of these up on dimensionals just to give it a little depth to our project. All right, so I've got those. And now what I did is I stamped off and did second generation stamping. So if you haven't heard that term before, you're not sure, or you have and you're not sure what it is, second generation stamping just means we're going to take, ink up our stamp real well, and then stamp off, so then our next image is a lighter version of that. So you can see these are both stamped on the Whisper White, and you can see what a difference that makes. I'm doing this stamping off and second generation stamping here because I just want a very light image, because I'm going to stamp my sentiment over it. But I thought it needed a little something in the background before I did my sentiment. I just thought that was a little plain with that. And now we're going to do our sentiment. You are the, oops, you are the greatest. And one of my favorite colors, this is new with the color Refresh, is this Granny Apple Green. I'm just in love with this color. I don't know why, but I seem to be drawn to it for pretty much any project I can incorporate it into. So I apologize if you guys are getting a little tired of seeing that, but I think we all kind of have our favorites that we are drawn to. You know, why don't you tell me in the comments, what's your favorite color of the new catalog refresh? I'd love to hear what you guys think are the prettiest. And let me remind you, while I'm doing this, putting this sentiment on here, that if you enjoy my videos, I sure would appreciate you giving me a thumbs up. Let me know that you're enjoying the content I'm putting out. And I'd also appreciate you subscribing to my channel. And you can do that if you go right down here in the corner. There's a subscribe button. Tap that, hit the bell, and the bell's going to make sure that you get notifications of future videos that are put out. So with these die cuts here, we've got a couple of different options. We can do the solids, we can do the see-throughs, and we can do a combination. Now, if I'm doing one of these that's more of the outline, I typically am not going to use that on the busy paper. As you see, it starts to kind of disappear and you lose it. But on a lighter pattern or a more tone-on-tone pattern, you can definitely use those. So maybe let's go ahead and follow the example of what I used before, and let's use these same two die cuts. I like using a little bit different, actually I might save that for another project, and let's come and do something a little different here. I'm going to use those two, and if I wanted I could put a third one in there too. And I just want to make sure that those are going to be having enough room that they're not going to be completely covered up when I put my circle image on there, because I would still want to have room for my flowers. And so I'm just going to come in here and give these just a light touch of the mono multi glue on that edge. That's going to end up being covered, so if it gets a little messy, that's all right. We don't have to worry about that, because you're not going to see it once those flowers get put on there. And you know what, I'm thinking I don't like that one after all. It's a little big. So I'm going to come back in and use this one. And then we've got our 3 flowers, and what I want to do is I am going to put 2 of these down flat. I've got sticky fingers. Things are wanting to stick down. Put 2 of these down here flat, and then my 3rd one I want to pop up on a dimensional. Let's see. I'll grab my full-size dimensionals here, because this is large enough that I don't need the minis. And I'm going to put that one right on here. Now this is the one that I'm going to use as kind of a latch for my circle, so I don't want it too high up, or I won't be able to tuck that down. All right, let's glue this on. Now don't forget, you're only going to want to glue the top of that, because the bottom's going to be hanging down there. And we're just going to tuck that right in there. And here's where I used my Stampin' blends. These artisan pearls are great. You can use the blends to color them up, so you can end up making them into any color that you like. And so I'm going to take and paint right on there. And this isn't the exact greens that are in here, the granny apple or the shaded spruce, but I think it sure is close enough once that's painted up. I'm going to use my paper piercing tool to pick these up and place them right on there. So I can't talk and do this at the same time, apparently. Lots of focus with these little tiny pieces. So there we go. Now we've got centers to our flowers. I think that makes it look much nicer. And let's do a little stamping on the inside of this card as well. So I'm just going to come in with my floral image, and I think I'm going to do a little Stampin' off to get some different colors up in that corner. And then let's pull out one of the leaf images, and come back in with that Granny Apple Green and do some stamping down here in the corner. Now, if I'm stamping off of the page, I don't want to stamp once and then stamp again, or I'm going to end up with some lines because the image is not evenly colored anymore because part of it was on and part of it was off. So if I'm doing that, I want to come in, actually stamp off on my page. And look at that. See if I can fix that up there. Well, I got a little bit of a flip there, but you know what? I think that's going to be okay, or I can come in and put a little flower, another die cut flower on there. I wish I had one to throw on there, or we could just cover it up with an actual die cut and add another level of dimension to the card. And stick that on there to cover up my little smear, and then just come in here and trim those pieces off. All right, I'm going to use my Tombow Mono Multi glue. Glue this down. Of course, if you wanted to also put a sentiment on the inside, you sure could do that as well. And whoops, and there we go. We've got our Tropical Escape card, and I'm going to get a little bit of glue on the ends of some of these. That's too much to hold them down now that they're in place. And there we go. You are the greatest. I love this Tropical Escape suite with the paper, the dies, and the stamps. They all just coordinate so well together. And stay tuned to my channel for future projects showing these products. And again, if I can help you with any of your Stampin' Up! Needs, I sure would appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. The link to my online store where you can shop 24/7 is below. And don't forget about bonus days in August. You have a great day and keep creating.